Welcome back, everyone. We're about to take a deep dive into the music and culture of Portugal today. We'll be exploring the guitar portuguesa, an instrument that's like the heart and soul of Portuguese music, especially when we talk about Fado.
It's true. You can't really separate the guitar portuguesa from fado.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand. Fado is a genre of Portuguese music. It's all about these expressive melodies and lyrics, often reflecting themes of, longing, loss, and things like fate.
Oh, wow. So it's like a very emotional style.
Exactly. That's the feeling.
Interesting. Well, today we're going to try to understand not just the mechanics of the guitar portuguesa, how it works, but also like its soul, its essence. We've got all sorts of stuff to dig into, articles, historical accounts, and even, believe it or not, some almost mythical origin stories.
That's what I love about these deep dives. We get to go beyond just the surface and connect the dots between the instrument, the music, and the culture itself.
Absolutely, and we'll discover some surprising facts along the way. For example, did you know the word guitarra might actually be connected to a mountain where the muses hung out in Greek mythology?
That's a pretty fascinating origin story.
It is. Or how about the fact that there are two completely different styles of playing this instrument?
Two very distinct styles, yeah.
And wait till we talk about the fingernail extension.
Oh, yeah, those fingernail extensions, they're a game changer when it comes to the sound.
Okay, I'm already hooked. Let's start with the word guitarra itself. Where does it come from? What can it tell us about the instrument's journey?
Well, like I said, the word's origin is pretty much steeped in artistic lore. One theory goes all the way back to Mount Cithaeron, the mythical home of the Muses, the goddesses of art and inspiration.
Wow, so it's like it's connected to the source of artistic inspiration itself. That's fitting for an instrument that's so deeply entwined with music and poetry.
Absolutely. There's another theory linking it to Cythera. It was an island paradise in ancient Greece, totally dedicated to love and poetry. Either way, the name itself really suggests a rich artistic heritage.
So it's like before we even hear a single note, the name already sets the stage for something special.
Exactly. Now, to understand how the guitar portuguesa came to be, we need to go way back to the medieval era. It actually descended from an instrument called the cithern, or sometimes called the citola. It was popular in Europe around the 13th century. We have records showing it was already present in Portugal back then.
So it's got some serious historical roots.
Oh yeah, deep roots. And what's fascinating is how its social standing changed over time. It started as an instrument of the aristocracy, played in courts and noble settings. But over time, it found its way into more common places, theaters, taverns, becoming, you could say, the instrument of the people.
That's so cool. It's like it broke free from the elite and embraced a more democratic spirit. Kind of reminds me of how blues music evolved in America.
That's a great comparison. Both the guitar portuguesa and the blues really capture those everyday joys and sorrows. But the guitar portuguesa story takes another turn. Some scholars think the instrument we know today is actually a fusion of the European cithern and the English guitar, which gained popularity in Europe a bit later.
A musical melting pot. That's fascinating. Now, that raises the question, why would they combine these two instruments? What was happening musically or culturally that might have led to this fusion?
That's a great question, and it's one that historians are still puzzling over. But, we can speculate a little. The English guitar, with its softer, more romantic sound, was super trendy during the 18th century. Maybe Portuguese musicians saw a chance to blend those expressive qualities of the English guitar with that traditional resonance of the cithern. Maybe they were searching for a new sound, something that reflected the changing musical tastes of their time.
So it's like they were experimenting, right, pushing the boundaries. And in the process, they created something uniquely Portuguese.
Exactly. And that's where those two distinct styles of guitar portuguesa come into play. We've got Lisbon and Coimbra. Think of them as two branches of the same musical family tree, each with its own distinct personality, its own flavor.
Okay, Lisbon and Coimbra, you said they represent two sides of the Portuguese spirit. What are the main differences between them?
Okay, well, think of it this way. Lisbon is the capital, right? It's this vibrant, bustling city on the coast. Whereas Coimbra, it's a historic university town a little bit more inland. These geographical and cultural differences actually show up in the instruments themselves. The Lisbon guitar portuguesa is a bit flashier, with a shorter neck, what we call a shorter scale length, and this gives it a brighter, more upbeat sound. Think of the energy of a Lisbon street festival. That's the kind of feeling it evokes.
It sounds exciting, almost like a celebration.
You got it.
Yeah.
Now, the Coimbra guitar Portuguesa is a bit more reserved, a bit more subdued, has a longer neck, a longer scale length, which makes for a deeper, more melancholic sound.
Ah, so that's where the saudade comes in. It's the instrument that embodies that bittersweet longing we talked about.
You got it. It's almost like the Coimbra style is designed to express that soulfulness, that introspection that Coimbra is known for.
I'm starting to get a sense of the emotional range of this instrument. Like it can be lively and celebratory, but also deeply moving and contemplative.
That's the beauty of the guitarra portuguesa, this incredible versatility. And both the Lisbon and Coimbra styles have contributed to its rich musical tapestry. It's worth noting that the choice between the two is really up to the guitarist. It's a matter of preference. There's no right or wrong, just different expressions of that same musical soul.
It's not about one being better, it's about the style that speaks to your heart and your musical vision.
Nailed it. And this brings us to another cool aspect of the guitarra portuguesa, the playing techniques, figueta and dedilho.
Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. I've heard about these techniques, but I've never really grasped the difference. Could you explain it for us?
Absolutely. Picture yourself holding the guitarra portuguesa. In the figueta technique, you mostly use your thumb and index finger to pluck the strings. It's similar to how you play another Portuguese instrument, the viola da terra. Figueta creates a warm, rhythmic sound, often used for accompaniment or for melodic lines. Then there's dedilho, which is all about intricate up and down picking, but just with the index finger. It's amazing. This technique allows for really complex and fast passages, creating a cascade of notes. It's mesmerizing.
So Fighetto is more about the rhythm, the accompaniment, while Dedilio is about speed and virtuosity.
You could say that. Figueta lays the foundation, and then dedilho adds the flourishes and embellishments, and that's where those fingernail extensions come in.
The secret weapon. Tell me all about them. What are they made of? How do they work? Why are they so important?
Okay, get ready for this. Traditionally, they were made from tortoiseshell, but these days they're usually nylon or plastic. They're attached to the guitarist's fingernails, and they have a very specific purpose. You see, the shape and length of these extensions actually vary between Lisbon and Coimbra styles, and they have a direct impact on the tone and attack of the strings. So, for example, Lisbon extensions are often more rectangular. This creates a sharper attack. Coimbra extensions tend to follow the natural curve of the nail for a softer, more mellow sound.
So it's not just about protecting their nails, it's like adding another whole dimension to their playing.
It really is. Think of it like this. If the guitarra portuguesa is the paintbrush, the fingernail extensions are the different brush strokes and are the ones that create those nuances in the painting. They're essential for that unique sound.
That's a great way to put it. It makes me realize how much thought and precision goes into every aspect of this instrument. We've covered the origin of the name, the historical evolution, the two distinct styles, the playing techniques, and now these fingernail extensions. It's incredible. What else is there to uncover about the guitarra portuguesa?
Well, we can't forget about the master craftspeople who bring this instrument to life, the luthiers. Portugal has a long and proud tradition of guitarra portuguesa makers, and their skills have been passed down through generations, family secrets, and all that. Some of the instruments they create are just pure works of art.
You know I love a good artisan story, so give me some names. Who are the legendary luthiers we should know about?
Oh, there are so many talented artisans. A few names pop into my head right away, though. The Gracio family, for example. They're renowned for their incredible craftsmanship. Alvaro Ferreira is another one. His guitars are highly sought after. And then there's the Tavares family. They actually moved their workshop all the way to Toronto, Canada, taking that tradition international. There's even a whole book about their work. It's incredible how they've kept this craft alive, passing down their knowledge and skills through generations.
It's more than just building instruments. It's like they're preserving a piece of Portuguese heritage.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And they're not alone. There's the Cardoso family, whose guitars are known for their incredible detail, that rich sound they produce. Oscar Cardoso, he's practically a legend. His guitars are like collector's items. We also have Antonio Guerra, Domingos Machado, Fernando Meirelles, Antonio Montero, Domingo Cerquera. It's amazing how many talented luthiers there are. It really shows the legacy of guitarra portuguesa craftsmanship.
It's amazing how this one instrument has connected so many people across time and even continents. But of course, an instrument is nothing without the musicians who bring it to life. Let's talk about the virtuosos, the legendary players who shaped the sound of the guitarra portuguesa. Who are the names every fan should know?
Oh, that's a tough one. Where do we even begin? The world of guitarra portuguesa is full of incredible talent. But I guess we could start with a true pioneer of the Lisbon style, Armandinho. He was born back in 1891, and he was a master of improvisation. He left behind a huge repertoire of Fado variations. He's considered one of the most influential players of all time, really helped define the Lisbon sound.
He's like the trailblazer, the one who set the standard for everyone else.
Exactly. And then on the Coimbra side, we have Carlos Paredes, born in 1899. He was key to shaping the Coimbra style. He actually worked directly with local luthiers to create a unique sound that captured the essence of Coimbra's musical tradition. And that legacy continued with his son, Carlos Paredes, who went on to achieve international recognition. He's a true icon of the guitarra portuguesa.
A father and son legacy. That's awesome. It's like the music itself is passed down through generations, along with the craftsmanship.
It really is beautiful. And Carlos Paredes, he wasn't just technically brilliant. He had this incredible ability to express so much emotion through his playing. He took the guitarra portuguesa beyond just traditional fado. He gave it a global voice, a voice on the world stage.
So he helped break down those cultural barriers, show the world just how powerful and beautiful this instrument is.
He did. But, the story doesn't end there. There's a whole new generation of virtuosos carrying the torch today. Names like Pedro Caldera Cabral and Antonio Chenio are pushing the boundaries, exploring all sorts of new possibilities with the instrument.
So the guitarra portuguesa is in good hands.
Oh, absolutely. It's thriving. And here's a really interesting development. Some Lisbon players are starting to use Coimbra-style string lengths with Lisbon tuning. They're blending the best of both worlds, creating this whole new hybrid sound. It's like they're bridging the gap between the two styles. It's really unique.
That's so cool. It speaks to the creative spirit of these musicians. They're not content with just repeating what's been done before. They're constantly exploring, experimenting, pushing the boundaries.
And that's what keeps the tradition alive and vibrant. It's not about getting stuck in the past. It's about taking those foundational elements and building on them, adding those new layers of expression and innovation.
It's like honoring the past while looking towards the future. And that's what's so captivating about the guitarra portuguesa. It's an instrument with this rich history, these deep cultural roots, and this boundless potential for creative expression.
You said it perfectly. It's more than just an instrument. It's a window into the very soul of Portugal. And through it, we can experience the beauty, the passion, that enduring spirit of a culture that's both ancient and modern.
This has been an incredible journey so far. We've gone from mythical origins to master luthiers to these virtuoso players, and it feels like we've just scratched the surface.
We've laid the groundwork, but there's still so much more to explore. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll delve into the actual construction of the guitarra portuguesa. We'll uncover the secrets of its unique sound, all the intricate details that make each instrument a work of art. I can't wait. All right, I'm ready to get my hands dirty. Last time we talked about the history and the soul of the guitarra portuguesa. Now I really want to know how they're actually made. What goes into building one of these beautiful instruments?
Well, then let's step into the workshop. Building a guitarra portuguesa is really fascinating. It's a mix of tradition, precision. It's like watching a centuries-old recipe come to life.
I'm all about those artisan stories. And we touched on some of the legendary families, the ones who've been making these instruments for generations. But let's zoom in on the actual process. What kind of wood are we talking about? Any secret ingredients?
Well, you might think, with all the amazing forests they have in Portugal, that they would source all the wood locally, but actually some of the most important pieces come from abroad. No way, really. That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, it is. For the back and sides of the guitar, they traditionally use things like rosewood, maple, or mahogany. Those are all really prized tone woods. They're known for their resonance and how tough they are, and they're often imported from places like India, Brazil, or Central America.
So it's like a global collaboration, bringing together the best materials from all over the world to create this uniquely Portuguese instrument.
Exactly. And for the top of the guitar, we call that the soundboard. They use spruce or pine. But not just any spruce or pine. The most sought-after wood comes from Flanders. That's in Belgium.
Wait, Flanders? Like the place with the canals and windmills?
That's the one. Even back in the day, it seems like Portuguese luthiers knew that the best stuff for their instruments came from different corners of the globe.
So we've got these exotic woods from all over. What's next? It's all handcrafted, right?
Absolutely. Every single guitarra portuguesa is made by hand. painstakingly crafted, using these techniques passed down through generations. Like we said before, a lot of these luthiers come from families that have been building these instruments for centuries.
It's like they're not just building instruments, they're keeping a whole piece of Portuguese culture alive, carrying on this legacy.
Yeah, you got it. And the attention to detail is unbelievable. Take the headstock, for instance. In the Lisbon style, it's got this elaborate scroll design, almost like a piece of jewelry. The Coimbra style is a little more understated, with that classic teardrop shape.
I see. So it's like those visual cues give you a hint about the sound. The Lisbon scroll, it kind of suggests something ornate and lively. And then the Coimbra teardrop, it feels more introspective, more soulful.
You're totally picking up on the nuances. That attention to detail, it goes for every part of the instrument, from the sound hole to the bridge, even the fretboard. Every element is carefully considered and meticulously crafted. It's not just about making an instrument that can be played. It's about making a work of art.
So it's a blend of artistry, craftsmanship, and tradition all coming together in this one instrument. I'm starting to get why people are so passionate about the guitarra portuguesa. It's more than just a musical instrument, right? It's a cultural artifact. It's a symbol of Portuguese identity.
Precisely. And it's that deep connection to culture that gives the music its power. It's like every note carries a little bit of history, a little bit of the soul of the people.
That's beautiful. Okay, so now that we've gotten a look at how it's built, I want to know more about how the guitarra portuguesa is actually played. We talked about those two main techniques, figueta and dedilho, but I'm curious about the tuning. How does that work, and how does it affect the overall sound?
The tuning is another area where Lisbon and Coimbra have their own thing going on. It adds another layer of uniqueness to each style. The Lisbon tuning is the most common, and it uses a specific sequence of notes across the 6 pairs of strings.
Hold on a second. Before we get too technical, can you remind me what scale length is again? You mentioned it before, but I could use a quick refresher.
Sure, no problem. It's easy to get lost in the lingo. Scale length is basically the length of the part of the string that vibrates, from the nut to the bridge. So a longer scale length generally means a lower pitch, and a shorter scale length gives you a higher pitch.
Okay, got it. So that shorter scale length on the Lisbon guitar gives it that brighter, more lively sound we talked about.
You're catching on quick. And like you said, that Lisbon tuning is known for a more upbeat, energetic sound, perfect for capturing that bustle and vibrancy of Lisbon. Now, Coimbra tuning is a whole step lower. That gives it a darker, more melancholic tone.
Ah, so that's the secret to that saudade sound. The tuning itself is designed to bring out a certain mood, that emotional depth.
It really is fascinating. It's like the luthiers and musicians way back when, they were thinking about more than just the technical side of the instrument. They wanted it to have an emotional impact. They were crafting an instrument that could really speak to the soul.
And remember those fingernail extensions we talked about? Those play a role in the tuning as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. The shape, the lengths, even what they're made of, it all affects how the strings sound and how they're attacked. It's amazing how much thought goes into every little detail.
It's like a whole bunch of things come together to create this incredible instrument. We've covered the wood, the construction, the tuning, how it's played, even those fingernail extensions. What blows my mind is that we've covered so much, but it still feels like we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
What else is there to know about how the guitarra portuguesa is played?
Well, one thing that often surprises people is how fast and skilled some of these players are, especially with that dedilho technique. They can play these super fast, complex passages. It's mind-blowing.
It's almost like a waterfall of notes just cascading over each other.
Exactly. And to get that good, it takes years of practice, dedication. These musicians are true masters.
Makes me want to hear it in person. I'm really starting to get why this instrument has such a powerful effect on people. It's more than just music, right? It's like this whole sensory experience. It takes you right into the heart of Portuguese culture.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's a window into the soul of a people, but it's expressed through music.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes. I feel like I have a totally new appreciation for the guitarra portuguesa, and I want to learn even more.
Well, you're in luck, because in the final part of our deep dive, we're going to explore the cultural impact of the guitarra portuguesa. We'll talk about its relationship with Fado music, how it fits into Portuguese society, and even its influence on the world stage.
I can't wait. So we've explored the history, the craftsmanship, the music techniques of the guitarra portuguesa. Now let's dive into something I think is really captivating, its cultural significance.
Yeah, I agree. It goes way beyond just making beautiful sounds. It's about expressing something much deeper in the Portuguese soul.
We talked about saudade, that feeling of longing, nostalgia, so important in Portuguese culture. Would you say the guitarra portuguesa is the instrument that really gives voice to saudade?
I think it's more than just saying that. It's undeniable, almost. The guitarra portuguesa and fado music, they're so connected, you can't really imagine one without the other. It's like this. If fado is the poetry of the Portuguese soul, the guitarra portuguesa is the melody that carries those words.
So it's not just the notes, it's about what those notes make you feel, the stories they're telling.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And those stories often revolve around things like love, loss, fate, the passing of time. I mean, those are universal themes, human experiences. But the guitar portuguesa, with its unique sound, the way it's played, it adds that distinct Portuguese flavor.
That's what makes it so fascinating, you know? You don't have to be Portuguese to feel the power of that music. It speaks to something deep inside all of us.
It's like this universal language that goes beyond words, beyond cultural differences. That's why the guitar portuguesa has touched so many people outside of Portugal.
You know, we talked about how this instrument has evolved over centuries, but what about today? What's its place in modern Portuguese society? Is it still as important as it was in the past?
Oh, without a doubt.
Mm.
I'd even say it's having a bit of a revival right now. You've got this new generation of musicians taking the tradition, breathing fresh life into it, experimenting with new sounds, even collaborating with artists from different genres.
So it's not about clinging to the past, right? It's about moving forward, exploring new things, and keeping the tradition alive for today.
Exactly. It's exciting to see. The guitar portuguese is popping up in all sorts of places you might not expect. Jazz clubs, electronic music festivals. This ancient instrument is finding its voice in the modern world.
That's fantastic. It really shows the enduring power of this instrument and how creative the musicians are. Do you have any examples of contemporary artists who are doing really innovative things with the guitarra portuguesa?
Oh, there are so many talented musicians, it's tough to just pick a few. But Pedro Hoya comes to mind right away. He's a phenomenal player, seamlessly blends traditional fado with jazz, classical, even world music. He's not afraid to experiment. His music is just beautiful.
Wow, so he's like the Miles Davis of the guitarra portuguesa, pushing the boundaries, redefining what the instrument can do.
I love that comparison.
Yeah.
And then there's Ricardo Rocha. He's known for using electronic effects, looping techniques in his shows. He's creating these soundscapes that are futuristic, but still deeply rooted in that tradition. And Cristina Branco, a fado singer, she collaborates with all these amazing contemporary guitarra portuguesa players. It's like a modern take on the classic fado sound.
It seems like there's this whole new wave of musicians taking the guitarra portuguesa to really exciting places. It's inspiring to see them honoring the past while shaping its future.
And it's not limited to Portugal either. There's a growing global interest in the guitar portuguesas, Schools, workshops popping up all over the world, teaching people how to play this captivating instrument.
Wow, so it's really becoming a global phenomenon, like a cultural ambassador for Portugal.
It really is. And it reminds us that music has this power to bring us together. It crosses cultural boundaries, creates a sense of shared humanity.
This has been such an incredible journey. We went from the mythical origins of the word guitarra to the intricacies of fingernail extensions, from the workshops of master luthiers to concert halls where the guitarra portuguesa shines. What a treat for the ears and the mind.
It's been my pleasure exploring this world with you. The guitarra portuguesa truly shows the creativity, passion, and resilience of the Portuguese people. It's a great reminder that even though the world's constantly changing, some traditions are timeless. Some sounds resonate through generations.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So, to our listeners, I urge you to go out and experience the magic of the guitar portuguesa firsthand. Listen to some fado, watch a video of a great player, maybe even catch a live performance. Let that beauty wash over you. Let the stories move you. Let the sounds take you to a world of passion and wonder. It's been a pleasure sharing this deep dive with you all. Until next time.